Hey guys, this is Bruce, and today I'm just going to answer some questions. I got a whole bunch of questions on email, on the YouTube channel, and so I'm going to answer those. But if you happen to be watching me live, if you happen to catch this, then you can feel free to ask any questions that you want. And if you didn't know, this is ConvoCourses. I've been doing cybersecurity for like 20 years. And so what I do is I just discuss the industry, how you can get into it. And my specialty is risk management framework and security compliance. That's what I do as a job, right? These days I've been doing assessments and stuff. So that's the kind of stuff that I talk about. And if you have any questions, any comments, whatever, this is open, pretty much open, so we could talk about anything. And I got one person jumping on. Smooth Virus says, "Hi, Bruce. How you doing, sir?" All right, let's jump into this. I'm going to start off with some questions that I got. I kind of took notes here. Somebody asked advice for a new ISO doing risk management framework. This was the video that I did, and they said, "Please help me with your contract. Please, I really need your help. Please, how can I write my resume?" So I normally help people out with their resume if they pay for a course, but you know, if I have some extra time, I'll help people out here and there. So if you want help with your resume, just email me and I'll get to it if I can. But if you're actually paid for a course, then yeah, I'll help you out. All right, so somebody else asked me verification or certification for security control assessor. This was the actual video. And they said, "Hey man, thanks for your information. I have the security and my CAP. Would the CAP substitute be a good substitute for the CASP or the CISA? Any thoughts?" Yeah, okay, I can talk to this one. All right, so it really depends on the job title. And let me qualify that. So if you are going into a position as an information system security officer, and it's for the Department of Defense, let's say, federal government, Department of Defense, a CAP is really good because it focuses on the actual NIST 800-37 and the FIPS type stuff. So a CASP will also be good. A CISSP will be good. And so will a CISA for that particular course. They will take that. Now, if you're doing something like if the role is a cybersecurity analyst, then a CAP won't be good for that position because they're looking for somebody a little bit more technical, and they're looking for somebody who's not just doing documentation. Not to say that people who do security compliance and documentation are not technical. That's not what I'm saying. But they're trying to figure out. They're trying to get somebody who can fit this role. So CASP is kind of a catch-all. It's kind of up there with like a CISSP. Like they put it on the same level. Is it on the same level? Really, I don't know about that, but that's how federal government, especially the Department of Defense, sees those two things. CASP, CISSP, and CISA, they put them on the same level. Are they the same? No. CISA is more like for auditors. And I can tell you this, and what I've noticed is in financial roles, like if you're doing cybersecurity for the financial industry, like Ernst & Young or any of those big four major financial institution companies, they look for the CISA or the CISM. So that's kind of the difference between some of them. It depends, to answer your question, it depends on the role. It depends on the organization that you're going through. Those are the things that are actually really important to that. All right, I got Discord coming up here, so bear with me, guys. It is destroying everything. I might have to turn this thing off. If you guys didn't know, I do have a Discord channel. I've been messing around with possibly doing more Discord stuff. So if you're interested in participating in that, hit me up on Discord. Let me see if there are any questions on Discord real quick. All right, this thing finally came up. Let me see. Anything on Discord? No, I don't see any questions or anything on Discord. And it's a better way. It's a better way to contact me is another way, I should say, is Discord. Because sometimes my emails just get buried and I just can't get to them. Or I can get to them, but it's going to take a while. You know what I mean? So, all right. Let me see. Any other questions? Smooth Virus says, I need to add stuff you suggested for mine. Yeah, definitely do that for your resume. Let me see. This is another video I did getting into IT with no experience. And Rich Kid said, hi, can you please give me the steps of certifications that a newbie without experience take? I'm thinking to start with compliance. Yeah, he means compliance. While I'm pursuing my degree in cybersecurity, but someone else suggested AWS. Can you help? Rich Kid, really it depends on what you want to do, honestly. I get this question every now and then, and it really depends on what you want to do with your career. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? If you're just starting out and you're starting your degree, you're getting into cybersecurity, think about where you want to be in 5 years. Do you want to be like a manager type role? Somebody said start with spell check. It's funny. I was thinking the same thing as I was reading it. But no. So all jokes aside, think about where you want to be. If you want to be more technical, do you want to be more of a management? That's something you kind of figure out on the way. As far as actual certifications, while you're doing your degree, AWS is actually really hot right now. That's why somebody suggested it. AWS and any kind of cloud computing, cloud technology type stuff like that is really, really hot right now. But if you don't see yourself doing that kind of stuff, I would suggest trying it out, getting into it, like doing some like preliminary, maybe set up a cloud, like maybe set up an account with AWS and actually go through it a little bit and see if it piques your interest, like if it's interesting to you. If not, move on to something else. Try different things out. You might really like networking. When I first started, I really wanted to be into networking. When I was in the military, I was cross training. That's what we called it when you go from one job to another in the Air Force. I was cross training from physical security that I'd done for 5 years and law enforcement, stuff like that. And I was cross training into was what we call it, computer operations, where we did help desk, we did networking, we did cybersecurity, all this kind of firewalls, all that kind of stuff. So I really wanted to do networking. For me, I don't know what it was, but as soon as I learned about networking, I was like all into it. And so they immediately put me on the help desk, which I wasn't super happy about, but I still had to learn anyway. So all I wanted to do was networking stuff. So I started doing it on my own. I started, networking computers together and learning, reading books about it. Just on my own time, I just started learning my own stuff. I got to this point where I took the CCNA, which at the time was like the lowest level Cisco certification you could take. Now they have other ones. They have CCENT, and the whole field has kind of changed and evolved and gotten deeper and wider. But at that time, CCNA was the lowest certification you could take. That was a Cisco certification. So I took it, and I got to a level where I understood networking enough to know that I didn't want to go that much further with it. And it was enough for me to know the basics. It went all into these other fields. It went into switching really deep. It went into network security really deep. It went into network engineering. It went into, CCIEs. It went into all the voice over IP, all these different areas that I was like, this is as far as I want to go with network engineering. This is it. I just want to know the basics, and now I want to move on with my life. I want to do something else. And in the meantime, they put me into something called, at the time, it was called Certification and Accreditation, which is now called Risk Management Framework and Security Compliance. And I really hated that. but I've been doing it for many years. I got so good at it that it became easy for me. So yeah, you just got to pursue a certain path until you figure out what you want to do. In the meantime, AWS is not a bad thing. Cloud computing is not a bad thing. Networking is awesome. If you want to do network engineering, try that one. If you're really into cybersecurity, I would suggest the Security Plus while you're taking your degree. Like if you want to go deeper in that path, the Security Plus is a good start. So I would suggest that one actually. And before you do that one, you need to know networking. So you could probably do a Network Plus. And if you want to go down that path, you might want to try CCENT. So yeah, those are the ones I would suggest. Security Plus, Network Plus. Start with those, and then maybe try the cloud computing one. That's what I would suggest. And get some experience on your own, hands-on. All right, another question here. Somebody said cybersecurity training course certification. This is a video I did about cybersecurity training courses, and they said, Howard Bounds says, how do I get the skills anyway without training? Makes no sense. How can I get the skills without training? You can't get skills without training. Yeah, that does not make sense. Yeah, I don't know the context of this one, so I'm gonna skip it. So Western Security, this is another comment. Western Governors University National University Cybersecurity Master's Program. Of these two, do you guys favor and why? Okay, I already answered that one. Hi, I'll be going to university next year. Here's another question. They said, hey, I'll be going to university next year, and I don't know what to do. Is it worth getting an IT degree? I want to study IT and get an MS in cybersecurity. Is it worth it? It depends on what you want to do. I know I sound like a broken record, but really you got to think about, listen, guys, if you're new to this and you're really trying to get into cybersecurity and you're thinking about security, look, listen, I'm coming from the heart here. I don't have a suit on. This is what I wear. Like this, I'm in normal attire. I'm telling you guys straight. I'm not blowing smoke. Look, you got to think about what you really want to do in 5 years. Like think about where you want to be in 5 years. Do you see yourself in like a manager type role, a supervisor role where you're managing multiple people? Do you see yourself more technical where you're in a network security closet and putting servers together, putting servers in racks? Do you see yourself doing that? What is it about this field? What is it about this that you want to do? Is it about money? If it's about money, there's several things you can do that are not super technical. You can be a program manager. They make crazy money. Not as prestigious, not as highly sought after. They don't make movies about it, right? It's not like hacking, or anything like that. You don't see program managers have their own movies and stuff, right? But even though it's not super glamorous, it does pay really well. And management, you could actually get a degree in information systems management, and you don't really have to be super technical if you're just going into management. You do need to know understand the technology, though. I will say that. It depends on what you want to do. If you're very technical, yes, be as technical as possible. On your own time, learn as much as you can. Read books about it. Set up your own network in your house, stuff like that. Is it worth getting an IT degree? Depends on what you want to do. If you're trying to make money, yes, it absolutely is. If you're looking for a very stable job, I've not been without a job since I started this career path. It is very lucrative. I can always find a job. I can't always find the amount of money where I want, but I can always find a job somewhere that makes pretty good money. So is it worth it? Yes, it is, but it really depends on what you want to do with your life, I would say. Anybody want to add something to this? I've got a few people watching me. Navi says, hey, Bruce, any thoughts on doing remote security assessments on cloud platforms? I don't have much to say about that. I work for a company that does this. where we do most of our assessments remotely. What we'll do is we'll set up a trust with in a contract with the organization, and where we meet them. We meet them like once a year or something like that. But most of our scans are done remotely, and we have equipment in there at their on premises on at their site that will do the scan for us. We're here, remotely. We access a system, and then it scans. It does a Nessus scan or whatever kind of scan on their network, and then we take that data back, and then we analyze that data, and we look at the risks that are involved. We look at misconfigurations. We look at vulnerabilities that might be on the actual hosting server. We look at different vulnerabilities with their with how they set up the system, the actual security configuration, like what do they have for their username, stuff like username passwords. Do they have a proper username password set up going? And those are the kinds of things we'll do. So we have to establish trust by establishing a contract, put a system on premises so we can actually do it remotely. Once we pull down the data, we are able to assess it and then give them a risk assessment, a complete risk assessment. And we also do on-site physical assessments as well. Let me see here. So I guess the jobs do exist. So these remote assessment jobs, they do exist. They're out there, and more so than ever because of COVID-19. Let me see here. I got some more questions and comments. Somebody said, I wanted to be into networking too, and that's why I got an MCSE way back in the 1990s. Whoa, MCSE was the heat back there. I had been a networking admin in the federal government for a long time. I saw how the federal agencies were moving all the network operation centers to small towns with fiber cable underneath. So what happened with me when I was back in is that I noticed that they started the military started giving all the hardcore technical stuff to contractors, and slowly but surely, like a lot of the technical stuff, and I don't know what they're doing these days, and I know that there's still technical soldiers and airmen and Marines out there. For sure, I know that there are, but a lot of the work started going to contractors. And a lot of us, like us actual active duty people, started jumping ship and working for these same companies because they were paying a lot of money. So that's kind of what happened when I was in. And that wasn't the main reason I jumped ship. The main reason I jumped ship is because they were trying to send me back to Afghanistan in 2000 and 2003. And I was like, nah, I'm not. That's a whole nother story, by the way. I got a lot to say about that stuff, man. I was there at that time. So anyway, Smooth says that way they can pay network admins the salary rate for someone living in a rural area. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. And in other words, a lot less than someone living in the big city like me. And that's when I decided if I wanted to make decent money, I needed to transition to cybersecurity or cloud. Yeah, that's a great point, Smooth, because Smooth's making a really good point. So this was another thing that I noticed. I just happened to kind of flow into this field. I kind of went with the current, to be honest. A couple things about this, what Smooth is saying. One of the things I remember, I was active duty, and this contractor, I was working with this contractor who worked with General Electric, my lord. General Dynamics is where he worked. And I was asking him, because he was like our resident expert on, I can't remember what equipment he did, but he was getting paid, right? I mean, he was getting paid. So I said, hey, Jim, I can't remember what his real name was. Jim, I said, Jim, like, I might get out of the military. Like, what do you suggest I do? And he says, Bruce, man, you gotta specialize. You gotta specialize. And that's kind of what Smooth is saying here. Once you specialize, and cybersecurity was a specialized field. And I happened to be, at that time when he was telling me all this, I was specializing in something. I was mastering a specialization. I was doing compliance stuff. I didn't like it, but I was mastering it. So he told me, Bruce, you got to specialize in one thing, because everybody's doing, just general IT help desk type stuff. Now you got to go through that. And I'll tell people all the time, especially you new guys, you got to start from the beginning. That's help desk. That's, customer service, things like that. Once you have the basics down, okay, once you have that common body of knowledge down, you want to specialize in one field or another. But then there's tons of stuff you can specialize in. You can do specialize in networking, specialize in system administration, specialize in cybersecurity, in a specific field of cybersecurity. Specializing is super important. And another thing is cloud's another new specialization that you could go in. So that's one thing I noticed. Another thing is, if you happen to be lucky enough to have a security clearance, that kind of weeds the field out even more, to where they're more likely So if you have a security clearance, you have less competition. You're not, because only certain people can actually do those jobs. So only U.S. citizens can do those jobs for the federal government, and that cuts out 30% of your competition. So you happen to be lucky enough to get that, especially in security compliance, you'll have less of a problem getting a job. Now, I can't promise you you're going to make six figures. I can't promise you you're going to be living in the place you want to be, but you can do one of those, right? If you're willing to sacrifice where you want to go, and you have a good certification, you got good experience, and you have a security clearance, you can go where you want and make great money, or you can stay where you are and make okay money, right? You can't usually have both, but sometimes you can. All right, let me see. Navi says, hey, Bruce, any thoughts on remote? Okay, read that one. Smooth says, putting a sniffer on a switch using mirrored ports. Been there, done that. Let me see. I got a few people watching me now. I've got Elsa saying, hi, Bruce. My background is IT. In IT, changing my career from SharePoint to cybersecurity. Took one of your courses and learned a lot about risk management framework. Passed the Security Plus recently. Elsa, congrats, and keep on going, taking that journey, right? One step at a time. Says, I have an interview next week for cyber risk and compliance analyst. Please shed some light. These are the JDs. Okay, let me see. What else did you say, Elsa? 2 years plus experience with cybersecurity experience with information assurance, performing information security audits, knowledge on compliance, including risk assessments, leveraging the NIST. And you said 4 years experience analyzing cloud environments, developing critical security compliance. And okay, it looks like you got a solid amount of experience. What I'll say for this, once you have your interview, is say these words. Okay, Mark, this has worked for me 95% of the time, right? 95% of the times. Here's what you say. You tell them that you can work with a team, that you're a team player. Because the thing is, if any technical security person who's worth their salt will know that you can't do this alone, right? And a lot of security guys get it in their head that they're supposed to do all this stuff alone. This is not something you do alone. This is a team effort. When you get selected to be a part of a cybersecurity team or an information system security officer team or risk management team or any of that, you got to understand that it's about the team. It's just not a one-man show. So you tell them this. You tell them, I'm super good with working with teams. I know that I don't know everything, so I'll rely on my firewall guy, on my firewall lady to help me out to figure out what rule sets we need to do. And I'm really good at coordinating with that team to figure out what we need to do to have proper security posture. Something to that effect, right? Then what you want to do is say, I'm really good at working with difficult customers. And then give them an example of you working with a difficult customer. That's what you do. You tell them, well, for example, I had a captain, and the captain was really high strung, and they wanted to get compliance for their firewall, but they weren't compliant. And I had to go to this captain and tell him that, Captain, here's the regulations, and right now our system's not compliant. And the captain started yelling at me. right? And I was a contractor. I didn't say anything. I just listened to the captain. The captain kept yelling, and once he was calmed down, I said, "Sir, I'm with you. I want the system to be compliant. Here's what we can do. We can do a plan of action and milestone, which will buy us about 90 days to fix this," right? So what you're doing is you're telling them, you're telling the employer, the potential employer, that you're not only a team player, and you realize that cybersecurity and risk is not about me accepting risk. It's about all of us managing the risk together as a team, right? That's what you're telling them when you say, I'm a team player. I know I don't know everything, right? I'm going to fit right into a team. And then the other thing that is harder for them to find is somebody who can deal with, in a mature way, with difficult customers as a professional and maintain that professional behavior at all times, even if the customer loses their damn minds, right? And you want to let them know that. So that has worked for me every time. Your experience is looking really good. You said 4 years experience analyzing cloud environments and developing critical security and compliance documentation. That's awesome. Experience with Amazon Web Services or Azure. You got a Security Plus. You got this Cloud Plus. Oh, is this you, or is this the actual system description? Is this description? I'm not sure. But anyway, just let them know that you're a team player and you can deal with just difficult customers. Excuse me. And then also what you want to do is explain to them what your qualifications are, right? Be familiar enough with their descriptions that okay, you said that this is the job description. Okay, that makes more sense. So just let them know, read through the job description, and then figure out where you fit in, right? Here's what I do. So you said that this is, let me read some part of the job description that you posted here. You said, thanks, I may look into cybersecurity. Okay. No, you said 2 years of experience. They're looking for 2 years experience with cybersecurity. And then, so right there, okay, you want to explain to them where you've done cybersecurity for the last 2 years, right? And let's say you're an IT person and you've been doing, I don't know, system administration on servers for 2 years. Well, think about all the times you've done security on that server for the last 2 years. That's cybersecurity, right? That's information security. You are securing the data. You're securing that asset for this large to medium organization. So you want to highlight those things that you have done for the last 2 years, right? Maybe you didn't have the cybersecurity title. You weren't a cybersecurity analyst. You weren't a information system security officer, but you were a system administrator and you did cybersecurity for 2 years. You want to explain to them that how you fit into their description. So read through their description and figure out where you have done exactly what they're asking for, right? And they're looking for either Security Plus or CASP or Cloud Plus or CISSP. You know, have one of those things. If you don't have one of those things, and they still accept you for the interview, that means there's a chance. What you can say is, I'm working on my Security Plus. I'm about 3 months away from it, and I'm about to take it. By the time you guys hire me, within 6 months, I'll have a Security Plus. Sometimes that works. It worked for me once. Like one time, they were asking for a CISSP, and I didn't have one. I had a bachelor's degree in information technology. I had a security. I had a bunch of certifications. I had a CCNA. I had Network Plus, I had A Plus, I had a bunch of certificates, I had all these small cap certifications kind of thing, and they wanted a CISSP, right? But I did have all of the experience they needed. I had at the time 5 years of certification and accreditation experience, and they were looking for a guy like that. So they hired me, even though the description stated I needed a CISSP. I said, look, I can get a CISSP within 6 months. That was the plan. Within a year, I think it was. And then they paid for me to have training for the CISSP. And then I ended up getting a Security Plus because I was too nervous to take the CISSP at first. So I took the Security Plus. I got it. And then they took me aside. My boss was like, listen, you were supposed to have a CISSP. Okay. Where is it? I said, well, sir, I'm about to take my Security Plus. How about I take that, and then I'm going to go. I just been nervous to take the Security the CISSP. Let me get this Security Plus, and then I'll finish and get this thing, this CISSP. And that's exactly what I did. I got the Security Plus, and then I ended up getting the CISSP later, and that's what happened. So yeah, the negotiations. All right, let me see what else we got here. Smooth says having a security clearance can be tough if you're not a vet. Yeah, true. I think there's a lot of people on DMV, like in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area who get those security clearances. Smooth. I talked to a lot of people who get them. They get hired at a corporation, then the corporation will actually pay for them to get the what's it called, SSBI. Yeah, so it does happen from time to time. Let me see. Why was GDIT so terrible? Okay, I don't know if the GDIT will sue me if this goes viral, so I'm not going to talk on that. Why not? What did he say about GDIT? Let me see. What do you say about GDIT? General Dynamic IT is what we're talking about, if you didn't know. Somebody said that GDIT was, I worked for them and they sucked. Oh, really? I never worked for them. I worked with them many times, though. I worked with Raytheon, with Lockheed Martin, with Northrop Grumman, with all these different global security companies. They're pretty much all the same, to be honest with you. He said, Smooth says, just my impression of them, but when I was there, I felt like I was just a revenue generating number. Oh yeah, for sure. That's how I felt. And all but SAIC was actually a good company. I worked for them. They were not bad in the beginning. Like they were employee owned. Maybe that was the difference. They had a lot of good benefits. They treated us really good. Unlike the other global security companies that I worked with or for, they're pretty much all the same. They have the same benefits, the same 401k plan, the same, if they lose the contract, you're gone kind of thing. They'll try to keep you least effort to keep you on. It's not this game isn't what it used to be, guys. Let me speak on that for a bit. This is a great topic, Smooth. I'm glad you brought this up. So Smooth brought up that GDIT was a terrible company. There's this impression that you're going to get in that I had. Maybe you guys don't have it. Maybe you guys are not as naive as I was when I first started this game. I thought when I got out of the military that I was going to get into a huge company, make a ton of money. Like a ton of money for me at the time was, $60,000 was a ton of money for me. So I got out and I was making $40,000 for a giant company, right? It was one of those Lockheed, Northrop, GDIT type. It was one of those Raytheon type. They all kind of do the same thing. They get a large contract for billions of dollars with the Department of Defense, Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, whatever. And then they hire out, they staff what they need, right? If they need a crypto guy, they'll hire a crypto guy. If they need a information system security person, they get that person. If they need an IT system administrator for Windows, whatever, they'll bring that person. And then Linux, you get the idea. They hire out all the people they need to fulfill this contract, right? And then they'll do subcontracts for stuff that they can't do, that they're not super good at. So I was thinking, I get out of the military, they're going to take care of me. But here's the way it really works, all right? It's all about money, okay? And I probably don't have to tell half you guys this, but I just want to make sure that you guys understand how this game works. If you're doing, I can't speak, I'm not talking necessarily about Facebook if you work for them or Google or all these other privately owned IT companies. But if you are working for if you're working for a contractor who does giant federal contracts, your Raytheon, your GDIT, your Northrops, all these guys, they do the same thing. What they do is they get a large contract. They hire you out, right? They're going to pay you 70, and you're like, oh my God, 70,000. That's cool. I have a 401k. You're all happy and stuff. But it's all about money for them. Okay, that means if they lose this contract, let's say GDIT, just an example. Okay, I never worked for them before, but I'm just giving you an example, right? But it's very similar to what actually happened to me. They get a contract with Army, with the U.S. Army on a base on Fort Dix, right? If that, I don't even know if that base is still there. So they get a contract with Fort Dix to do for some kind of program for an IT weapon system, right? But all you're doing is computers, the computer portion of it, and you're making sure the system is secure, blah blah blah. And you're an ISO, Information System Security Officer. They lose the contract, you are gone. If they lose the contract, you are gone. Now, there's some cases where they'll try to keep you. It's like, hey, Bruce, we've got this position over here. Do you want to take this other position? It doesn't pay as much, but it's over here. You know, you have to move to North Carolina. Are you okay with that? And you're like, no, man, my kids are going to this school here. I'm in Colorado. Like, my kids go to the school over here. I can't just move to North Carolina. My kids are in high school, right? So they'll try to put you in another position, but not all the time. So that's how your GDIT, your Raytheon, your Northrops, I'm just kind of giving you guys a cautionary tale of that's how they work. If the contract is gone, more than likely that work is gone, and then that means you're gone and you're looking for another job, right? And if they're good, if they're at least okay, they'll give you 30 days notice. If not, they'll let you go immediately, and I've heard of that too. In fact, a lot of times I've been lucky. Like, normally they'll give me 30-day notice and be like, hey, listen, Bruce, sorry, we don't have a positioning. We lost the contract. We really thought we were going to get it. You didn't get it. We give you 30 days. In the meantime, here's a list of places that you could work for us. This one's in Alabama. This one's in Florida. This one's in Green Bay or whatever, right? And I'm like, I can't move, guys. I got kids. I've been here for 4 years. I don't want to. I've got a house here. Like, I'm not moving, right? But if you want to move, you happen to be single, yeah, they have a job over there in Florida or Green Bay or wherever. So that's kind of how it works. It's a numbers game, just like Smooth is saying. It's volatile, and if you have a choice and you have a family and you're looking for stability, then probably you want to be a actual civil servant. Like, they don't pay as much though. You don't get as much money. They make like $20,000 less than you might make, or more or less. Like, they don't make a lot compared to their civilian counterparts. The contractors make more cash, but it's more stable if you're a civil servant, I would say. Civil servant means like you literally work for the Department of the Navy, right? Or the Department of the Army, and you're a GS3 or GS9 or GS10 or whatever, and then they're paying you salary directly from the government. Like, you're not a contractor. So it's more stable. It takes an act of Congress to actually fire you. So that's kind of what I learned, guys. And I'm not trying to discourage people from getting in this field. I'm not trying to do that, because it does pay well. I mean, this is paid for my house. Me having being on these contracts is paid for my house, for me to travel all over the world. I've been remote. My life has been really good, but I've had to always keep swimming. It's kind of like I always have to keep one step ahead by training constantly, by taking certifications, by always being in the know on what's going on with the contracts. Sometimes I'll leave before the contract. If the minute the contract is shaky, I'm looking for other jobs. That's another thing I'll do. I'll just be like looking through other jobs. Now, I know how to find jobs, and I'm telling you guys how to do it. So let me see. Smooth says, the worst is when the base you're working on is closed due to BRAC. Jobs go bye-bye then. Yeah, BRAC was base reassessment something. I can't remember what BRAC stood for, but BRAC was where they started downsizing the military, or start restructuring it, and where bases would close down, they made these like super bases and stuff. Yeah, that was something else. If you want stability, really good work and impress the GS people at your office, and they'll pick you up. Yeah. So GS, like Smooth is saying, GS positions are more stable, right? And I was offered a GS position. I told that story in another video, how I was offered. I was making like I was making like 85. They offered me like 75 or 60 or something like that. Meanwhile, Northrop Grumman was offering me 95. So I was like, base, realignment, and closing. Yeah. Yep, that's what it was, BRAC. Yeah, one thing I did right, guys, with all of this, I was a contractor for, let me kind of just give you a synopsis of my history. So I was in the military for a little over 8 years, where I did cybersecurity for about 3 or 4 of those years, and I was a physical security. I did that for about 5 years, and I got out of the military, and I was offered a job with one of those, like a Raytheon, GDIT, Northrop, kind of one of those guys. I got hired on, and then I did contract work until recently. Like, I did contract work for probably like 10, 15 years straight. And then I started getting picked up by recently I got purely private. I'm doing pure. I haven't worked on a government contract in 2 years. So I'm doing completely private in the private industry. What I did right to make myself very valuable is I kept improving and expanding my skills. I didn't stagnate. I've been obsessed with IT enough to want to improve myself and my skill set and get other certifications. Every now and then I'll get another certification. I'll pick up another one. And it's very strategic. Like right now, I'm working on doing a CEH, but it's very strategic. I know CEH is very valuable to these organizations. That's the reason I'm doing it, right? At the same time, I'm getting the actual experience of a CEH. I'm developing my cyber threat intelligence skills. I'm doing that at my job right now. I'm doing a little bit of hacking. I'm using the tools. I'm actually learning. I'm learning that stuff, but I'm also getting the certification. It's a very strategic move because I know that part of this field is going in that direction. And another thing that I may do is cloud. And cloud is another very strategic move because I know that this is the way, this is the direction that the market is going. So that is, you see, somebody said that's why I got my CISSP. Yes, CISSP, I got mine too, and that was also a very strategic move. I'm always thinking like 5 years out, right? I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to do in 5 years? And what's my plan? And then I say, what's my backup plan? Right? If I can't, let's say I get the CISSP, it doesn't go super well. What am I doing, right? Well, I'm working on my Unix skills, my Linux skills, right? And that was another thing that I did early, is that Unix started getting big, but Linux at the same time, I noticed all banks and like financial institutions, in the back end they're using Linux, but on the front end they're using Microsoft. I started learning Linux. Be strategic. I mean, that's why I think I've been able to have a job. Like, I've been valuable because I kept evolving. I kept on stay ahead of the game and think strategically what you're going to do. Not only just like what you want to do, like you may want say CEH or whatever, but maybe the market's not going in that direction, right? You got to go you want to kind of satisfy both things. Like you don't want to leave yourself bored. You probably want to do the things you want to do. Like, let's say you like networking, do that on the side. But if you know that the field is going towards cloud computing, you might want to actually learn a little bit of that too, right? Even though you're like, I'm not really into this cloud stuff, learn it. Learn as much as you can, maybe even get a certification. That way you can put it on your resume. Think strategically, think like 5 years out of where the market itself is going. And that's why I think that I've been able to be successful at this. Even though you're always losing contracts constantly, I haven't had to worry about it as much because of my skill set and because I'm always thinking, 5 years out. Okay, let me see. Let me read another question here. This one was on the teleworking from Estes Park that I did. And somebody said, hello, I have some questions and I wanted to talk through them. I'm interested in a second career in risk management framework. I sent you an email, and I'm sure your inbox is flooded. It is. Is there a way that I can get in contact with you? On these lives is a great way to contact me. And emailing me is a great way to contact me. Another one is on the Discord channel is another way. And I also, if you look at below in the description box, you'll see a link to a community that's actually on my site. And what I've been doing is actually doing videos, responses to people's questions. So that's another way you can contact me. But if it's more personal, email is the best way to go. Cloud computing for federal government. Somebody said, yo, man, I'm 22 years old, and I really, really appreciate you doing this, giving out info. I wanted to ask you if I could contact you via email or Insta or whatever. I just really need someone to talk to. I want to pursue cybersecurity more than anything, honestly. If not, I understand. Yes, contact me. I'll get to it what I can. I cannot promise you I can answer quickly, right? I'm not that kind of service at this point, and one day I hope I can offer something that's more of like a personal consulting type thing. Right now, this is what I do, right? Because I have so many people asking questions. I'm trying to build a community here. That's the goal. The goal is to make a community of like-minded cybersecurity people, of experts, of instructors. If you're an instructor, contact me. I'll email you immediately. If you are an instructor, contact me. I'm trying to build something bigger. So, I'm trying to build a community, right? That's why I'm not charging people $3,000 to come see them. This is not that kind. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is build something bigger, right? Think Udemy. Think Cybrary. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do that. So if you're an instructor, contact me, and we'll talk about creating something together. All right, let me see here. Okay, I don't really have that many more questions here, but I do have some people talking to me here. Let me see. Tony Martin says, I left GS making 75. Wow, that's pretty good for GS. To Accenture Federal Services for $111K. I almost died when I got the offer. Couldn't sleep for days. Yeah, it's a life changer, isn't it? It's a life changer. When you make that first 6 figures, it's like it's amazing. It's amazing. It changes. You have to rethink things when you make that kind of money. You have to think about your life. Yeah, so Martin is saying that he went from think about that. He went from 75K to making over $100,000 a year. I mean, and then you start thinking to yourself, man, what am I gonna do with $40,000 more dollars a year? Like, what am I gonna do with that? You start thinking to yourself, man, that's a few $1,000s or more a month. What am I gonna what am I gonna do? It's life-changing, and that's why I get so many people contacting me, because this is such an amazing field. Cybersecurity is an amazing field. I have not been without, like, look how many disasters we've been through since 2008, the collapse. I wasn't without a job during 2008. I did really good in 2008, and I did really good in 2009, 2010. First time I made over 100K 2010. I just been leveling up since then. And so 2010, 2011, 2012, I've been doing all the way up until now. And this current state where during COVID-19, I probably did the best I've ever done in my life. And I'm not joking. I'm not exaggerating. I probably did the best financially. I did the best I've ever done during COVID-19. And I owe a lot to this field. And so if you're on the fence about it, and you have any kind of proclivity towards technical stuff, if you want to get into it, if you feel like you have the patience to learn it, yes, do it. I mean, I have not been, sometimes, I forget how bad other people have it in some other fields. And so I get people contacting me from all fields, like from the medical field, from teaching, from admin, from all paralegals. All these different fields are contacting me to try to get into this field because it's so hot. And we actually do need people. We need people with a certain level of knowledge and experience, though. So you have to put yourself in the game. That means you have to get those skills. You have to learn this stuff. You have to do what it takes to get into this field. And they're not just randomly. You can't just walk. You can't walk off the street and just start. This is not a job where you can just come in and start sweeping. You know what I mean? Like that's not the kind of job that this is. This is something where you have to come to the table with something. You have to bring something in. And that means you got to put in the work, the experience to actually get your foot in the door. You do. So, and that means starting off from the bottom. Help desk, right? Cracking books open, tearing your computer apart, putting it back together, stuff like that, right? Depending on what field you want to go in. Let me see. I got some other questions here. Somebody said, Bruce email got back to me the very next day. I can't always do that smooth. Don't make. I'm trying to manage expectations. I do get a lot of emails. I'm getting a lot of contacts from recruiters. Thanks, Bruce, but running out of time. Unemployment insurance ends on the 4th, September 4th. Smooth. Like if you. I don't understand. Like, where are you at? Maybe it's the location you're at, because some places do have an issue. Some places, like maybe Omaha, Nebraska or something, don't have a lot of IT jobs. You might want to take a job where you're traveling. Have you considered that? Like, one time, like there was a time when I needed more money, right? So I left the country. I left the country to go work somewhere else. I'm in DMV. I just takes time to get those high paying positions. You might want to take something lower for now. Like take what you can get for now and continue to look for a position. I've done that in the past too. Like if I need something now, I'll take a job right now. It's not what I'm trying to make. But if you have a CISSP, my man, I really don't understand. You just must be picky. Because if you're in DMV and you have a CISSP, you're in DMV, you have experience doing this stuff, I don't understand why you don't have a job yet, unless you're just picky. But like I said, like what you could do is go ahead and take a position now. Take a position. I'm just making 65, whatever, right? Take it. Keep looking for jobs. Keep on looking for positions, right? That's what I've done that before. Like I just took something and happened to be a pretty good job. And I kept looking for a job and started getting contacts. Pretty soon I had somebody offered me a remote position. And I was very reluctant to take it because actually the job that I had settled for turned out to be a pretty good position with a really good company. But I was driving too many miles, so I ended up taking that remote position. This was years ago, by the way. Tony says, I'm in DMV too. It's actually easy here if you are experienced and have tight certifications. I have a CISSP. Yeah, that's why I don't understand. He says, I haven't been hitting the job boards hardcore until the last 3 to 4 weeks. Rest of my time is studying for the CI. Oh, okay, I thought you said you had a CISSP and then taking the test. Well, what you could do, Smooth, is put on your resume that you're studying for the CISSP. You could just put on there, studying, I'm working on the CISSP, right? That allows you to put it on your resume. And like I said, I got a position where they were wanting a CISSP. And I didn't have one, but I said, I'm working on it. They hired me, and they said, with the understanding, within X amount of months, I would have a CISSP, right? And then I got in, and I worked my ass off to get that CISSP. And meanwhile, they saw my work ethic. I was a hard worker, and I knew what the hell I was talking about. And so when I didn't get the CISSP in 6 to 8 months, like I said I was, they were like, look, you got to get that CISSP. But we're not going to fire you, but you got to get that CISSP. I said, okay, look, I'm going to get this. I'm going to go take the Security Plus real quick. And then after that, I'll take the CISSP kind of to appease them, to get them off my back, because I felt like I needed more time to study. So you have the CISSP now. Okay, so you do have it. I had to wait for my endorsements to go through. Man, then I don't understand, Smooth. I don't understand. If you have a CISSP and you are in this field and you are in the DMV area, you should already have a ton of offers. Now I'm just waiting for them to mail me the physical certificate. Well, you have one. You don't have to have the certificate in your hand. You have one. Put it on your resume immediately. Put your updated resume with the CISSP and your CISSP number. Or if you don't have the CISSP, just put the CISSP on there, on your resume. Put it out there on LinkedIn, on Indeed, on Dice, on Monster, on everywhere. And I guarantee you, your inbox will be so flooded with offers. You're gonna be contacting me like, Bruce, should I take this one or this one? That's what's gonna happen. Your problem is gonna be your inbox is too full of offers. So yeah, congratulations on that CISSP. Not an easy certification, my man. Not easy. Takes balls of steel to go for that. Jamal, how you doing, man? To actually even go for it. Tony says the easiest way to get 6 figures in the DMV is A&A. That's assessment and authorization. ISSO, security assessor. SCA, security control assessor. ISO support. Yep. Facts. So there's some people on here who really know what the hell they're talking about. I'm telling you guys. There's some guys on here who really know what they're talking about. Navi says you can verify the CISSP online. Good luck. Yep. CISSP number, and then you give that to the employer, and then they can look it up. Yep, it's everywhere now. I'm getting 3 to 4 contract daily offers. Indeed. Yes. And on Indeed alone, yes. Go on Monster, go on Dice. Monster is where I got most of my jobs from, to be honest with you. But LinkedIn is also a very good place. Elsa says, not sure what I'm doing. Not sure what is going on in DMV area. I agree with Tony. Not a lot of offers. You see a lot of jobs out there, but they're not hiring. So here's my approach, Elsa. Here's been my approach whenever I'm in between jobs. I got off a contract not too long, 2 years ago. They let me go, right? I was on one of those giant companies where they rotate contracts all the time, and we lost our contract, and they were like, sorry guys, and we have to start looking for jobs. Luckily they gave us 30 days. And what I do is my new job becomes apply for jobs like a madman. I put my resume on every job aggregator I can find. All of them. I advertise. My new job becomes to advertise myself. I update my resumes. Here's another thing. Have more than one kind of resume. So let's say you're willing, think to yourself like this. What are you willing to do? What can you do, right? So you may be, what I mean to say is you may come to a point. You need a job, right? And you're an expert at 2 things. Let's say you're a security analyst. You did that for a while, and you're ISO. Like those 2 things you can do day one, right? And maybe program management, 3 things. Make 3 separate resumes. One that focuses on all of your program management skills. One that focuses on your cyber security assessment skills, or cyber analyst. I think that's what I said. Cyber analyst skills. And one that focuses on your ISO skills. There's no rule saying you can't put out 3 resumes. Put out 3 separate, this is what I do, 3 separate resumes of things that you can hit the ground running. Right? Each one of those resumes has keywords that cater to that particular genre, that particular category. And then all you do is find out ways you can put your stuff on ZipRecruiter, put your stuff on an updated version of all your 3 resumes. ZipRecruiter. If you have to use 3 different emails, use 3 different emails, whatever you got to do. Okay. ZipRecruiter, Indeed.com, Career Builder, Dice.com, Monster.com, Link. That's your new job. That's what I do. I do nothing but market myself when I'm in between jobs. And I get a ton of offers. I get so many offers. My job is keeping up with figuring out which one I want to do. And basically at that point, I am interviewing them. I'm looking at their job description. I'm talking to their technical recruiters. I'm looking at their site. I'm going to Glass. There's one called Glassdoor where you can actually see employees who have worked there before and figure out what people think about that place. I'm looking at their salary. I'm looking at their benefits, their 401k, their all that. Maybe even their stock ticker. I am interviewing them at that point. And so that's kind of what I do, guys. And it worked. It's been working for me. I have not been without a job and look at all the disasters we've been through. I've done nothing but excel. I'm not trying to brag or anything. I'm just telling you, like, this works. Like, the stuff that I'm doing works, and that's why I packaged it up and I put it on my site, ConvoCourses, because that is exactly what I'm telling you is what's in the course. Just it's more detailed if you take the course. So make your job to find that position, find that job. All right, let me see. Got a couple more comments here. I would happily accept an ISO position. The only thing that seems to be holding me back now is I never finished my bachelor's degree. I'm fixing that next, going to WGU starting September 1st. I'm telling you, Smooth, if you have a CISSP, you should still be able to get a job without a bachelor's degree, to be honest. Like, yeah, it's going to eliminate some jobs, but what you could do is say, working on my bachelor's degree on there. And then when you talk to the employer, be like, yeah, I'm working on it. I'm going to have it. I should have it within 2 years. They might even have a program to help you with that. So don't rule it out. It's not something that's going to hold you back, especially if you have a CISSP. Yeah, I never needed a bachelor's degree before. Exactly. And now once you have this CISSP, you need it even less. I'm being honest with you. I'm being honest. It's a nice to have, but you don't it's going to open up more doors. Degree is, I'm not trying to talk mess about degrees. I think degrees are great. Let me see if I have any more here. Somebody commented on ConvoCourse podcast, courses update and paths. And somebody said, hi, I'm new to the course. Do you have an email address? Okay, you know what? I'm going to type my email address for you guys. 2 free courses, cybersecurity resume. Somebody said, hey, how can I connect with you? Okay, I'm going to show you guys right now before I let you go, I'm going to once again show my email address and several ways to contact me. Let me do that right now. I'm going to do it right now. Right now. First of all, if you look at the description below on this video, you'll see a link to my site where you can sign up for free, and you'll see a link to the community that I set up on that site. On that community, I've been doing video responses to your questions. These are questions typically where multiple people are asking me the same question over and over again. Now, I'm going to give you my email address, right? This is my real email address. It's cyberAware2020. I made this account back in 2017, by the way, or something, at gmail.com. This is it right here, .com. This is it. You want to contact me about something that's a little bit more personal, can't really talk to anybody else about it, that's kind of where you want to email me. Another thing is I have a link in the description below that has a link, should be a link to my Discord channel. Discord channel and email, to be perfectly honest, it's hard. Sometimes I get too many messages. And I'm kind of sorting through them to keep in mind I am in this field. Like, I'm not like some of these other trainers who did this stuff 10 years ago. I do this now. I'm an assessor for a major corporation, and I do it in many different industries. So in many different, without saying too much, I don't want to. I need my job right now, so I'm in this field, is what I'm saying. All right, I'm doing this now, so I have a full-time job. I do this on the side. This stuff I do on the weekends. I do when I'm off work. I do release. You see me releasing videos throughout the week. Those are pre-recorded. I do those on the weekends, and then I pre-record it, and then I set it to where it releases every so often. If you want to contact me live, it's on these lives that we do, and it's emailing me. Now, I'm particularly interested if you happen to be somebody who can teach. If you can teach something, you need to contact me, because you and I need to make a course. We need to make a course, and we need to put it out there. We can make one. Listen, I want to make a course about HIPAA. If you know HIPAA, contact me. I want to do a course about blockchain technology. If you know it, you need to contact me. Now, look, if you're not interested in money, no need to contact me. Keep doing you. If that's not into you, if you're not into that kind of thing, do you. But look, if you are, if you want to teach, you want to help people and make money, fun and profit, contact me. If you do security, any kind of cybersecurity, contact me. You do any kind of technical work and you think you can teach it. Like not a lot of technical guys. I meet a lot of very smart technical guys, but they can't teach. This isn't for you. You know what I mean? This is not for you. So I'm looking for people who are willing to share their knowledge, right? It's people with patience. That's what it takes to instruct people, because everybody doesn't learn like you. So you've got to have some patience. So if you're an instructor, contact me. Here's my email over here, right? In the description below, you can contact me there. You can contact me on Discord. You really got no excuse on this. You can contact me. Hell, if you don't know how to teach, but you know how to create a syllabus, I could help you to teach it. All right. We could work something out. I'm looking for multiple teachers, instructors. LOL, my old boss of mine had good advice. Don't work for free. In other words, make that money. Yeah, I mean, I put out a lot of free stuff, but the reason why is because I think it's important it's kind of like, I don't know, Gary Vee, if you guys are familiar with him, he's a business guy. But what he says is that it's really about helping people. If you help people, you will make money. And that's so true. And so that's why I'm not charging $4,000 for this stuff, right? Because I'm really trying to help people. And the more I've reached out and helped people, the more of a community I'm able to build and the more money I'm able to make. So it's been working for me. And I don't really have time to be like a consultant where I fly out to your site or anything like that. So I do what I can. Let me see here. I think that's about it. I think I had a couple more questions, but I want to say that I answered most of them effectively. Let me see. Somebody asked me a question on my free course. Free courses, a video about free courses and avoiding scams. Says, hey man, I would like to contact you. Okay, I think I answered that. Okay, yeah, I think I answered all the rest of these. So that's it, guys. I think that's it for this week. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And just so you guys have a heads up, the prices will be going up. It has been super cheap. I did that in the beginning as a test to see if people actually want this stuff and if there's a market for this, and there is. The prices will go up. I will be expanding this stuff. So all you people who bought it early, thank you so much for your support. I really want to thank you guys for joining this community and being a part of it. It means a lot to the people out here who's trying to get into this field. And that's been the name of the game from the beginning. And that's why I put out so much free stuff and so much cheap stuff, is because I want to help people to get into this market. But if I'm trying to expand a little bit more, I'm going to have to charge more. And that's what I'm going to do very soon. Thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks, Navi. Thanks, Smooth. Elsa, Leon, Tony.